Where are they at? What's up, guys? Welcome into another episode, instant reaction live video after a Ravens victory. Shout out to the Baltimore Ravens, now on a 5-game win streak and our first in the AFC, if I'm not mistaken, overall.
Yeah, no doubt.
Woo! Man, that was a fun win, a different win. If you guys are new to the channel, make sure, I'm sure you're not new to the channel, but if you are, make sure you hit the subscribe button. We're excited to break down this game. We're going to review our predictions, talk about what we our initial thoughts, you know, some reasons we thought they won. But I just want to start off by saying this. I'm really scattered brained right now, Glenn. I got two words. Josh Bynes
made a difference today, did he not?
You know what? It made me laugh. So I'm a new dad, okay?
Okay.
And like when my son is wailing, right? There's something about picking your kid up and just holding them and they calm down, right? That's all it takes sometimes. That's how our inside linebacker group was, just a bunch of babies. And Josh Bynes, like a daddy, just said, look.
So put your head on my breast.
That's right. And just calm down.
That's it.
Everything's going to be fine. It's okay. Daddy is here.
Yeah.
Everything is fine. Like, he's so calming, right?
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, the guy made a bunch of big plays today. Had a big breakup on third down where he hit the receiver and nearly caused an interception on that play.
Yep.
But I mean, he's just a sure tackler. What we were desperately missing, a sure tackler who's in the right place at the right time. And yeah, you might say he has some physical limitations at this point in his career, but the guy can still get a guy on the ground when he gets his paws on him.
And he can still cover relatively well. I mean, like you said, at this point in his career, I'd like to know what the guy's diet is, because he's
he looks trim.
He looks good.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I guess if you're worried about losing a step, you lose a couple pounds to make sure it doesn't happen. So shout out. By the way, the Bills, right now, the Ravens are in sole possession of the number 1 seed in the AFC.
Tomorrow night, the Bills play, right?
We'll see if the Bills win. But that's a tough matchup for the Bills. I mean, look, Tennessee's banged up. They've been a disappointment, but I think we all agree that Tennessee could beat the Bills tomorrow. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's not a far cry from possible. But where do you want to start off, Glenn? First of all, of course, the Ravens won. We now moved to what? 5-1. We're on a 5-game win streak. We're still at home, taking advantage of these home games. Where do you want to start with breaking down this game?
Well, I mean, I always keep some notes, and I do have my notes that are broken down, drive by drive, and just kind of like a quick blurb that encapsulates the drive. And what I see when I look over my notes, Jimbo, is a ton of big third down stops and third down conversions.
And that was your offensive key to the game.
Big time. You had to convert, and you had to slow down the Chargers. The Chargers came into this game converting 48% of their third down opportunities. And the Ravens were big time players on third down. I mean, first of all, why is Justin Herbert continuing to challenge Marlon Humphrey on third down plays? He kept throwing his way, and I couldn't have been happier.
It's like, why did they not watch any of the Colts game with what happened to Anthony Averett?
Exactly. I mean,
it's
a
total exact opposite.
Yeah, I mean, it was a total flip-flop of efficiency when it came to these two teams. The Ravens were 6 of 11 on third down in this game, and the Chargers were 3 of 12. And that, to me, was the big difference maker. The Ravens took advantage of every single drive. They made first down after first down. It was, I mean, at one point in the first half, the Ravens had, I think, 12 first downs, and the Chargers had 2. I mean, it was a big difference in the game, the third down. So that to me was the spot I really looked for. At the end of the game, they had nearly double the first downs. They had 27 to the Chargers 14.
And to add to your point, your offensive key game, of course, was to execute on third down, convert them. I was happy to see Greg and Lamar's patience as an offense to come out, run the ball, looked a lot like the 2019 team as far as their commitment to the run game. Even with the recent success in the pass game, to know that what the other team's weakness is. And we've talked about this, Glenn. The most dangerous offense is a ambidextrous offense, right? Like one that can go, we're gonna smash in the face and run the ball, and then turn around and we're gonna air it out 40-45 times a game and execute in both. And I was happy to see them, go at their weakness from the very beginning.
Yeah, and go at it with all of their backs. It was a healthy dose of all 3 of their running backs, and really the best game I've seen from all 3 of these guys. I mean, shout out to you, Jimbo. You called Devonta Freeman as being your offensive breakout player. I clowned you a little bit. I said, we don't even know if this guy's going to be active. you were 100% right. The guy looked fast. He's definitely our fastest running back. There's just no doubt about that. The
Yep.
guy is explosive. He was big today. I mean, the guy was just no doubt. He was box office today, but really all those backs. Lev Bell had his best game by far. I thought he looked physical. He was obviously his vision's never really been in question, and he showed that off today. And then even before the injury to Latavius Murray, I thought he was having his best day. He had 9 for 44 in the touchdown with a 14-yard long on the day. I mean, I thought he was phenomenal, and he caught a few balls out of the backfield. He caught two passes. It was it was the best day we've seen from this running back group since week 1. And boy, is it nice to see an actual running back lead our team in rushing yards to give LJ a little bit of a break.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's give our guy Michael a shout out real quick. I don't think we put his chat up on the screen.
Yeah, and I'm glad he said, let's see. He said, I was a little worried about the D, but it was good.
There we go.
It was fantastic. I mean, it was absolutely incredible. What's so funny? Oh, because of the D?
Just read it again.
Yeah, it doesn't sound good. Damn it. Why did I have to read it? I should have let you write that one.
You stepped right into that one, man. That
I
was
did.
so
But
funny.
But to his point, Jimbo, get your mind out of the gutter. They were phenomenal. So my question to you, Jimbo, my breakout defensive player, in case you didn't remember, was Deshaun Elliott.
The Joker.
And boy, was the Joker on it today.
He was no joke today.
Yeah, hey. He had the phenomenal interception where he just snatches the ball out of the receiver's hands. And then he had a huge sack in a big moment that forced a punt. I mean, this guy was absolutely big time. And so my question to you is, Jimbo, were we missing Deshaun Elliott more than like when Peters got hurt, we knew it was going to be a big injury.
Right.
But was the time where he was out, was he a bigger loss than we thought?
Yeah, I'm starting to think so. And all credit to Brandon Stevens being a young guy and doing the best that he can. And he certainly improved his tackling. We even saw that today. But yeah, I mean, Deshaun Elliott was a guy that we were missing and maybe taking for granted based on the fact that there was redundancy between him and Chuck. But we can see his playmaking ability out there. And he let us all know after he got that sack, I'm back.
Mm-hmm.
I'm back. And we appreciate that he's back and healthy. Let's move right along. All right, to FBI agent here. Run game back on track. I'm glad I'm reading this one. We converted third downs and defense looked great. Glad to finally make it to a live show. Well, shout out. I'll tell you what, it didn't take an FBI agent to see that the Ravens were going to win this game pretty quickly in the first quarter. But yeah, you're absolutely right. Run game back on track. I really think a lot of that, not a lot of it, but a decent amount of it has to do with just our willingness to keep at it. But they go hand in hand. The two portions go hand in hand because the run game works when you're converting on third down, right? And so those two things work together. We didn't get in a lot of third and longs. We got in a decent amount of second and longs, but Lamar, just ran his way out of those. But I guess the way that I would summarize this phrase is that it was a great team win overall. Great team win. For all three phases. This is exactly why the Ravens, to me, are one of the most. John Harbaugh is one of the most produces one of the most consistently competitive football teams in the NFL as a coach because he really puts an emphasis on all three phases. He's not, I mean, look the Chiefs won today, and that's fine. But look at how porous their defense is, right? Like Andy Reid doesn't really care about defense. He just doesn't care about it that much. And that's fine. I mean, he's obviously a Super Bowl winning coach, but our balance is outstanding as a football team.
No, it certainly looked like that today. I mean, it didn't look like that at all times this year. There looked like times where we couldn't stop anyone, especially the Colts and Carson Wentz. So I hope that this is more of a representation of what the defense truly is and not a blip. But I'll say this is the most explosive offense we've played thus far this year, and they look pedestrian. I mean, Austin Eckler, for a guy who came into this game as being one of the premier backs, dual threat certainly in the league, he has 6 carries for 7 yards out of the backfield. I mean, this Ravens defense stopped the LA Chargers to just 26 total yards on the ground. Yep. Talk about making a team play one-handed, and also only 182 yards in the air. Justin Herbert held to just 195 as a passer, and of course, when you take the sacks away, just 182 as a net. I mean, the defense played its absolute ass off. And Jimbo, maybe you were right when you were saying, look, he's still as good as he is. He's still a young player. And there's no doubt that Wink is going to show him something he's never seen before. and maybe that was the result. This dominant win.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that overall, what happened in this game is I think that anytime you play against Lamar Jackson for the first time, it's hard because it's hard to simulate in practice, much less deal with it in real life, right?
Yeah.
And then it's the same thing with Wink's defense to a certain extent, in that it is equally unique. And so to deal with those two things for the first time as a first year coach, traveling across the country as a young quarterback, how much can you do? You know what I mean? I feel like people were not giving enough respect to those factors, and absolutely all those things played a part today. I mean,
Yeah.
just to reiterate your comment. Um,
Yeah, Robert Wiggins says old school be more beatdown, mic drop. Absolutely. This looked
yep.
like the 2019 Ravens where we were feet up in the fourth quarter,
I'm ready to take a
padding
nap.
stats. Yeah, I mean, it was a complete beatdown. Was this the first time we saw Tyler Huntley in a ball game? I mean, so that's always a good thing when you see the backup coming in and there's not an injury to Lamar. So
Mm-hmm.
I was, that was nice to see. But yeah, I mean, this is back. This is like we were used to seeing. We got a little too used to seeing it, I think, when back
Yeah.
in 2019, and it made us a little spoiled as Ravens fans. But yeah, it was nice to have a game where I wasn't absolutely grabbing at my chest because the stress was unbearable. And Stardust says this was supposed to be a shootout. Wow, absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
credit goes to Wink Martindale. I mean, you just look down the line. Mike Williams, feared receiver, one of the most productive receivers in the league, 2 for 27. And I know he
Now
got
he was
banged up
hurt,
on
but
that. Yeah,
still.
he got banged up on that 26-yard catch. But still, I mean, and then Keenan Allen, I mean, one of the very best receivers in all of football, 5 for 50. I
Yeah,
mean,
their leading receiver with 50 yards.
yeah, I mean, it was just a sensational performance. Credit to Anthony Averett bouncing back. The guy was he was just a pigeon out there against the Colts. They were picking on him. He comes out. He played phenomenal. I mean, the whole defense played phenomenal. And it could be a combination of things. It could be Elliott coming back gives these guys confidence, gives these guys a little bit more mojo. It could be Josh Bynes being injected into the middle of that defense and all that he brings. But whatever it was, I hope this is what we see going forward for the rest of the year.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And let's address Billy Seal's comments here, because I want to talk about this. We've been praising the defense, but we still need to talk about number 6. So defense looked better. Funny that Patrick Queen was sitting out. Surprised they didn't try to abuse the middle. So I think what Billy's referring to is, if I'm not mistaken, like at the end of the third, beginning of the fourth, around there somewhere, maybe mid of the fourth, I saw Patrick Queen on the sidelines, and I saw a lot of board and a lot of binds. And so what do you make of that? I mean, is that just it's the end of the game? The game's already, we're three scores ahead or whatever the math breaks down to be, or are the Ravens like, look, we need to close this team out. We need to put our best guys out there at the time. Is it a
Yeah, I mean,
trust thing?
yeah, absolutely it is. I think this unfortunately, unless Pat Queen starts showing something different, this could be a trend that only
Did you
gets
see
worse for him.
anything? Did you see anything out of him today?
I mean, he had a moment where he had a nice play at the line of scrimmage, but I mean, not a ton. I saw way more from Josh Bynes, not even close. I mean, Josh Bynes was jumping off the screen at you, multiple big time plays, both in coverage and in the run game. So I mean, I think he was just like he was when he came in and saved us the last time. I mean, it's just classic Josh Bynes doing what he does. He's just a phenomenal player. And he I think is going to be a guy that really saves our bacon this year, because I don't think Bynes is going to Queen is going to all of a sudden start playing more physical, more instinctual. I don't see it happening. Yeah. So he could end up being the guy who really stabilized the unit going forward. And Ashify Gaming says defense balled and Tucker being Tucker. No doubt. I mean, another missed extra point we see from the Chargers just makes us more and more thankful. He's such a rock star. He's such a baller. And yeah, he again, perfect 2 for 2.
Yeah, shout out to Sarah Ellison with maybe the tweet of the game after the kick, where she said, "Do you think that Justin Tucker sits on the sideline and chuckles to himself every time he sees a missed extra point?" I mean, do you think he does a little bit? Like he just opens up his phone and he looks at his bank account and he's like, "This is why."
Yeah, I mean, and he's so confident. I don't even think that the thought pops into his head like, "Oh, I better not jinx myself." He's just such a confident guy. I think he just yeah, he's got to have a little look at y'all. when he sees that kick go wide, he's just got to be like, man, you're not me. You're just
Yeah.
not me.
So let's talk about Queen just for a second here before we move on, because Charles Bowie brings up a point that just to clarify, I saw another commenter said that he went out for injury.
He
Queen
got
went out
hit
for
in the
injury and then
groin.
came, yeah, and then he came back. He took a helmet to the boys.
Yeah, I think that's all that
So
was. Yeah.
yeah, but then he came back. So we're referring to when he was healthy, got his wind up under him again, and then came back in the game. So let's talk about this. How much credence do you give to the idea that, look, it's only his second year. It's his first true off season. He's only 22 years old. He's the youngest guy in his draft. Like, how much runway do you give him? You see what I'm saying?
Well, I think that they're right in the sense that you don't give up on the guy, but it's hard. Look, they always say that you get better in the offseason. That's when you make big changes, big adjustments to your game is in the offseason. So how can we, and I get that experience also, there's no replacing experience, but I just wonder how much better he's going to be able to get as his snaps are taken away from him, given to
Yeah.
Josh Bonds. Like, I don't know if we're going to see that progression this year or if it's going to have to wait until the offseason and hopefully we see him bounce back next year. I just have a hard time believing he can make those adjustments and get better this year when he's going to be losing snaps both in practice and on game day.
Yeah, it's such a hard thing because we're in win now mode. I mean,
Yeah.
we're now 5-1. We don't have time for the train. The train's moving down the tracks, right?
Yep.
And you got to either keep up or the train's going to leave you behind. I mean, it's just that simple.
Yep.
When I was a kid, train's leaving, train's leaving, train's leaving. That's what my dad would always say when we were leaving the house. If that train's leaving, I mean, if we weren't in the car, we were at home. So, I mean, Patrick Queen needs to make a decision. But that will be interesting to see how that goes for him moving forward. But I want to talk, kind of hit on injuries before I want to move over to the offensive side of the ball. We'll bounce back and forth, of course, but glad to see that it looks like Bozeman is okay. We saw on the screen he gave the thumbs up to his wife, and she tweeted out. So we haven't heard any reports yet, and they might be doing it right now in the post game. Not sure, but we'll definitely keep you guys up to date.
Yeah.
But glad to hear that it appears that it as if he's okay. They probably, I mean, I'm assuming they left him out of the game because they said, look, like, I mean,
yeah.
why?
What's the risk? I mean, it's not like
Yeah.
they don't have a competent backup in Cologne. But
Yeah.
I mean, I agree. I think Bozeman is extremely important to where the Ravens want to go this year. So fingers crossed that I saw some people thinking he got his wind knocked out of him. A bunch of different reports. I'll wait to see what the Ravens say, even though I'm sure they'll be tight-lipped about it if there is an injury there. But yeah, let's just watch the practices and see if he's missing any time. Then there may be some reason for concern. But oh man, we can't lose that guy. We can't lose anyone on the offensive line at this point. But certainly not our guy in the middle in Bozeman, who right now is playing as a top center in the league and is looking like he's going to get absolutely paid in the offseason.
I mean, great guy, great leader, most consistent player on the offensive line. We can't afford to lose him.
Yeah, absolutely, no doubt about it. But yeah, I mean, let's keep going. Let me peep my notes here because I made I changed it up a little bit here in the way that I do it, and so I wanted to talk about Bateman's return. Right, we got to talk about
You read my
Bateman.
mind.
Bateman's back. He's a much anticipated game, and a bit of an up and down game for him. Right, I mean, first of all, he had 4 catches for 29 yards, which I was incorrect. I picked the under. I said it at 2.5. I was wrong.
Can we just go there real quick?
Go where?
To the competition. Can we just go there?
Why do you want to go there so quickly, Jimbo? What the hell is the rush? I mean, let me just say, let me finish my damn Bateman thought.
Go
Okay?
ahead.
All right. So Rashad Bateman had some good moments, but I mean, we can't deny it. He showed some strong hands. He was able to get open, made some nice catches. But we got to talk about the drop that turned into an interception.
What's going on with the dropsies with the wide receivers, man?
Shocking. I mean, we see Hollywood drop a touchdown today, which I don't love that he gave Bart Scott any damn ammunition to continue spewing the nonsense that he was spewing. But he did. He gave him some ammunition. Yep. And then Bateman drops a play that turns into a phenomenal interception.
Yeah. But look.
What do you make of it? Is this a worrisome thing?
I'm not worried about it. I mean, this is his first game ever. It's not something. It's not like we heard come out of the draft. He has concentration drop issues. Like
Right.
we didn't hear that about Rashad Bateman, and so like when I hear those things, we heard that about like what was it,
Rashad
Perryman?
Perryman. Yeah.
Yeah, concentration drops, whatever on earth that is. But anyway, so I'm not concerned about it. I'm not concerned about it at all. In fact, I give the kid compliments because man, he looks smooth.
Yeah.
Smooth. He's a smooth operator out there, man. He looks smooth in and out of his breaks, smooth in and out of his cuts and all those things in his routes. And I'm excited to see. I thought he actually had more of an impact on the game than anybody really suspected. They went to him on third down. That was a pivotal third down in the game where it was kind of
Yep.
still in reach. So no, I think he played well. We got to
Yeah.
get to these people over here. They're getting a little antsy.
Yeah,
on this.
Michael Gaither says, was this a statement win for the Ravens or a humbling game for the Chargers?
Both.
I think it's both. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I mean, anytime you take on a team that a lot of people were saying was the top in the AFC, them or the Bills were kind of fighting for it. I mean, that's a statement win. You beat a team that's so talented offensively, it's unbelievable. You can't find a spot offensively where they're weak.
And we didn't win we
Yeah,
won
nail
in
biter.
convincing fashion.
Destroyed them. Absolutely destroyed them. So it's absolutely a statement win, and it better be humbling for the Chargers. They got destroyed in every facet of the game. They
How do
got
you
beaten special teams, offensively and defensively. They got outcoached. I mean, every facet they were beaten today.
So I was going to ask about that. Everyone loves the coach, and I think he's great. I think the snippets I've heard of him. I think he's insightful. I think he's smart. I think he's calculated and well thought out. But
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of the fourth down and throwing stuff.
Well, first of all, they went for it on 4th and 2 from their own 18, which is insane. I get
You
that
only
maybe
do
analytics.
that with Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, I mean, I get analytics might tell you that at that point with the score and the situation, maybe analytics tell you to do that, but I was surprised to see it in such deep part of their territory.
Yeah.
It shows a lot of confidence, but obviously they went for it a few times today, and that 87% conversion rate on 4th down took a big hit today.
Plummeted to my goodness. That's going to be like my current grade after these finals are posted.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're a little busy. Billy Seal says small sample size, but Bateman looked respectable minus that pick he provided. Absolutely, Bill. I think the fact that this was his first game, and like you said, Jimmy, he was targeted in big moments. He was targeted on third down conversions when the Ravens needed to move the chains, and they went to their rookie playing his very first game in a big time important game. I mean, a game in which could ultimately, I mean, it's a little early, but could ultimately decide home field advantage. You just don't. There's only one team that's going to get it, and right now the Ravens are number one. And if they lose that game, who knows what happens? So, I think Bateman looked good. He came out of it healthy, which might be the most important thing of it all. Let's see what this kid's got going forward because we're going to need him because who knows when Watkins is going to be back.
Absolutely. All right, let's keep this baby going here. J.E. Wong 47 says, does the fact they played this well give some credence to the idea they looked past the Colts last week, and that's why that game was so close? I don't know. I don't know if that was the case. I like to think that the Ravens have matured, at least offensively. I would have said maybe that's the case 2 years ago in the 2019 season, but I think these guys have matured. I think more credit goes out to the Colts for having a good game plan and executing. I think they were winning the line of scrimmage offensively and defensively, and that's why they were beating us at dominating the majority of that game until the second half. And also shout out to the Ravens to make their adjustments. So I won't say it was that. While I understand the idea and the temptation to write it off that way, I give more credit to the Colts than that.
100%. I think the Colts just are showing that they figured something out. They beat the doors off the Houston Texans. They beat them 31-3 today. I think the Colts figured something out. They're gonna be a much better team throughout the rest of the year than they were to start the season. I think credit goes to the Colts there. They're a good team. Carson Wentz was far better last Monday than Justin Herbert was today. We saw a lot of errant throws. We saw a guy who looked young out there, looked confused. And I still don't understand why they continue to challenge our best corner and maybe the best corner in football in every key situation. They went at Marlon Humphrey. I don't understand it. Stop going at Marlon Humphrey in big moments or you're going to pay the price.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think Marlon had one heck of a game. And it was funny because one of the announcers, Archuleta, one of the commentators, said that Marlon's had a slow start. And maybe statistically he hasn't had the fumbles, the interceptions, or whatever. But the reason he's at a slow start is because no one apparently is as stupid as the Chargers, and they don't go after him quite as much as others. Now I know he does get he does get targeted sometimes on the long balls, but Marlon is just, I mean, it's an incredible football player. It's just not a great idea. It's a
Mm-mm.
bad game plan, bad strategy. Also, at what point do you think if you're Justin Herbert, do you go over to the sideline and you talk to the OC and you're like, hey, how about we not do that? You know what I mean? Like, I wonder what that conversation is like in game and then
He's
obviously
awfully
post
young.
game.
Yeah, he's awfully young. You wonder if he's got that kind of
Clout, right?
yeah, exactly at this stage in his career. But who knows? I mean, he could be a vocal guy.
Man,
But
I don't know if I'd be able to keep my mouth shut.
yeah, I
I mean, I'm not
mean,
good at that period, but
and at the
certainly
same time, the coach would say, "Look, you're the guy on the field. It's not like he's
right,
the only
you
one that was out on the
exactly.
route."
Mhm.
I mean, so there's a lot that goes into it. Joshua Hunter says, "Oh, targeted him on 2 fourth downs, yeah, and on third down as well in a couple opportunities." So,
Maybe
it,
they saw something on the tape that no one else saw.
yeah, I don't get it. I thought it was a bonehead move, and Marlon does what he does, and he shut it down. I think he had a phenomenal game today. It was not a good game plan. I mean, look, the coaching staff gets a huge star from me. Everyone does. I mean, look, Lamar Jackson statistically looks like he had a poor game. I think
Yeah.
that obviously the one interception. Let me just address that first interception. It was a bad throw. That was a bad interception. But I'll say this: a lot of teams lose guys when they're in the middle of that shield in the middle of the field. They blend. I don't know what it is, but if you notice on that play, the guy was standing in the center of the 50-yard line logo. And
Yep.
for whatever reason, guys get lost in there. You see it all the time, and that's the only explanation because he flat out did not see that guy. He threw it right to him. I mean, so that's my only explanation, but it's a poor throw.
Yeah.
And look, I mean, as well as I think Lamar still played this game, there was obviously some plays out there with the receivers dropping balls that could have made his numbers look better. The fact that they were able to win 34-6 against a 4-1 football team with Lamar having a touchdown, 2 picks, and only throwing for 160 yards,
Yeah.
that just shows what a team win this truly was. I mean, this was just everyone did their job, and it was able to absorb not the sharpest day from Lamar.
Yeah, and then on top of that, everyone talks about how special Lamar Jackson is and how you can do everything right and he can still wreck a play. The fact, like you said, I mean, the statistics tell a story, but if you go back to those, remember those penalized second downs, we had a few of those, we had a few of them coming off sacks and things like that. The
Mm-hmm.
fact that Lamar made those big plays that other quarterbacks can't with his legs is just another reason that he sets himself apart. I just
Yeah.
like because you can be having a bad day in so many other ways and then turn around. Really, we know that the majority of any NFL game comes down to what, a handful of plays, 3, 4, 5 plays.
Yep. Yep.
And that's usually the difference. And while today we were in control the whole game, that story could have been much different for a guy that
Yeah.
doesn't have the ability to do what he does with his
And
running
I think the
ability.
wind played a part in today's game too. It was 10 to 20 mile an hour gusts in Baltimore, and I think it
Oh,
probably affected both quarterbacks in
it
a
was
big way.
howling,
Yeah,
Glenn.
so
Woo!
I think that certainly impacted the game. But also, we know what else sets Lamar Jackson apart, Jimbo?
What's that?
Lamar Jackson just passed and broke Dan Marino's record for the most wins under the age of 25. By the way, he's still got plenty of time left to really extend this lead. He's got 35 wins. He's not 25 yet. He's got 35 wins. He's still 24. And he's looking to put that record into an unbeatable category as he just, continues to stack. But yeah, shout out to Lamar.
Yeah, man. Let's give him a clap.
Yeah, round of applause for Lamar. Another record that his haters will overlook and somehow point out one miscue. But anyway,
Yeah.
we're not here to talk about the haters.
You know what I'm waiting for, Glenn? I'm waiting for DK to instinctively clap in the background.
Even though he's in the background and
Yeah, to just be like, yeah.
Yeah, now that you say that, watch out. Watch out for him. But yeah, I mean, I thought, let's see. Stardust says, big day for Ricard. He
Big
was
time.
moving people. Absolutely. And on that Freeman run, on Devonta
In
Freeman's
the
most
first quarter,
impressive
you're talking
run.
about?
Yeah, where he faked inside, which perfectly set up the seal block by Ricard on the outside. And then he bounced it and went around the edge. I mean, the running backs were phenomenal today. I mean, absolutely phenomenal. They looked like a running back room that teams would be calling and asking for. Much different than they looked last week.
Now, and I also got a shout out to Josh Oliver because that play as well, he swallowed up 2 guys.
He did.
I mean,
Yep.
I know he got the holding penalty, but he's got his hand in the dirt doing work in there, man.
And he fumbled, which luckily we recovered, but he did fumble a ball too.
But blocking.
Yeah, but blocking. Hey, all we can say is Boyle is on his way.
That's
Because
right.
if you think Josh Oliver can block,
That's
holy
right.
smokes, we know what the big fella is going to be bring. Billy Seal says Brandon Stevens made the most of his time today. Thoughts? And then he says, thought Oweh could have had a bigger feature, could have been a bigger feature. That guy gets held a lot. Double A bouncing back. Absolutely. Brandon Stevens, this is the role that's perfect for him. He can
Yep.
grow, he can gain experience, but he
Yep.
doesn't get forced into positions where he's just not ready yet. He's
Yeah,
just
he's
not.
bowling with bumpers on right now.
Exactly. Let's keep him doing what he's doing, what he knows to do well. Let's keep him confident. Let's keep him progressing, but not expose him to things that may kill his confidence, that may make him, play with hesitancy. I love the fact that they found one in this kid, but let's
Yep.
not rush it. Let's let him get it.
Yep.
And I thought he played well today. I thought Oweh, a bit of an afterthought for me today. I didn't see a ton from Oweh. I get that,
His counterpart got one.
Exactly. I think that Justin Houston played well, but that offensive line is one of the better offensive lines they'll play. And
Yep.
Oweh had a lot of time lined up over Rashawn Slater, who's proven to be one of the very best tackles in football, despite it being his rookie year. I give him a pass. He's still a young player. I would have liked to see him make Jimmy sweat a little bit and get one sack closer to making Jimmy eat that microphone cover, but not going to happen today. Let's try again next week.
That's right. Let's so actually, let me go back to this real quick. I just want to add to this. Brandon Stevens, just a thought that came to my mind, converted running back, right?
Yeah.
Pretty good tackler. Yeah.
Better tackler than a lot of guys. And yeah, I mean, Chuck Clark, dude. Talk about tackler.
He's sticky, man. My
goodness.
goodness.
Man is sticky, bro.
Yeah, but the one thing I'll say is that look, PQ is a young guy, but converted running back. Doesn't seem to be tackling like Brandon Stevens. Is now, of course, much more is asked of him from a tackling perspective, going up against bigger guys and things like that. But
yeah,
just something that came to mind. I'm glad that anytime we get a victory and Oweh finds a way to make an impact without getting a sack is a great day for me. But of course, I would prefer the sack and then eat the microphone cover. But it all worked out. And yes, I agree. Double A bounced back. But let's get to Tone the Virgo. What were the Chargers thinking on that 4th and 1 play in their own 20? And it wasn't even a run, but great for us. Yeah, we kind of touched on this, Glenn. I thought that this one was insane. At some point, you got to pick your head up. Look, can I back up for a second?
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you my answer this way. I just finished my stupid econ class. All right. And I'm so bad at it. I was paying for private tutoring from a PhD in economics. He has 2 children and is currently making a living charging tutoring for $15 an hour. Okay. I was asking him, I said, look, I'm getting an MBA. You have a PhD in econ. Do you ever think about going back and getting your MBA? He said, I was about done. And I realized I made a mistake, that I should have got my MBA. And now I realize that today as a PhD that is tutoring you for $15 an hour.
Mm-hmm.
And so my point is, the reason that he what bothers him about econ and bothers me about it is it's all theoretical. It looks great on paper. The first assumption of econ is that people are rational consumers. We're not rational consumers. So all your other stuff doesn't make sense, right? Like you can put whatever you want on paper. The reason I say all that is because the coach, that whole staff needed to get up out of the statistics, get up out of the analytics, get your face off the papers and the bar charts and say it's 4th and 1 on our own 20. Kick the dang football.
Well, if they get it, but the thing is, obviously they were already down big at that point. I thought it was a ballsy move. But if you have confidence in your quarterback, if you have confidence in your offense, and you realize that your defense ain't stopping Lamar Jackson and them Ravens, they couldn't stop him, and his coach knew it. He knew they had no chance. So if they didn't put up points there, I think that was kind of the, waving the white flag of a bit, like, or if they would have punted, it would have been a bit like waving the white flag and giving up. I think it unconventional. I agree, but I think it was, that coach just realized, he saw how this game was going, and if they didn't convert there, he knew it was over. So why not give it a shot? That's the only thing I can say. I don't necessarily disagree, and I don't disagree with them keeping the ball in Justin Herbert's hands. I mean, I get that a run, look, Eckler's a good player. They got a good offensive line, even though it's banged up on the right side. But I think you put the ball in the hands of your young quarterback because, you got so many weapons. I mean, we forgot about just how good Jared Cook was. We touched on him a little bit, but he showed today. The guy is the ageless wonder, and they got weapons everywhere around him. So I understand it a little bit, although unconventional. I get why he did it. But yeah, glad that the Ravens
Yeah.
stopped because it was over after
Oh,
that.
John Harbaugh was looking over there smiling, saying,
Oh, for sure.
go ahead."
Absolutely.
My only point is that, like, sometimes you just got to look at the tape. Look, like, don't overcomplicate things, right? Don't reinvent the wheel.
Well, the
Uh,
tape showed him probably not to go for it, but the tape on his defense showed him he better go for it or it's going to be even worse. You
yeah,
know?
I mean, I guess that's a great point, but yeah, that was really interesting. But the reason I bring that up is because we outcoached them today. I mean, every phase of the game, we took them to school.
Yep. I mean, Wink
Absolutely.
bent him over his knee and turned his back porch red in front of everyone at M&T Bank Stadium. He spanked his bare ass in the middle of that field, and it was a beautiful thing to see. I mean, let me ask you this: does this loss make people think that the Chargers are still just the Chargers and that they're a bit of a regular season team and they're not really a team that you look at as a team that can compete for a championship? Does this hurt them that bad in the
Nah,
eyes
you
of
know what they're gonna say, because it's not Lamar Jackson under center. You know what they're gonna say?
what's
Oh,
that?
he's young. It's a first-year head coach. They're still growing. They're a year out, right? But they're on the right track. They're headed in the right direction. They still beat Kansas City. They still, this, that, and the other. Blah, blah,
Mm-hmm.
blah, blah, blah. Right? Like, that's what it's gonna be. I hate it. So everyone else gets the longest leash in the world. And Lamar Jackson makes one mistake and it's like hellfire raining down on him. So, no, in fact, I was going to ask this question. Does this win and the way that we won do more to improve the Ravens stock or lower the Chargers stock? Do you see what I'm saying? Like, tomorrow morning, are people
Yeah.
going to be like, wow, the Ravens are that good? They beat the Chiefs. They beat the Chargers. They barely lost the Raiders on a fluke in the first, all these things that we've done lately. Or are they going to say, man, the Chargers really aren't that good?
I think they're going to give all credit to the Ravens. I mean, I think that they're going to say, look, it's a tough trip. You're playing 10 a.m. your time. You're going across. But I still think the Ravens deserve. I mean, they didn't. It's not like this. I mean, this was a complete and total shellacking at every corner. Like it was so bad. I think the Ravens are going to be starting to be talked about. A lot depends on what happens in that Bills game, because if the Bills come out and they look like they've been looking in the last few weeks, where they've just been blowing the doors off teams, maybe they still get talked about as the top team, and the Ravens still have to pass them. But if the Bills slip up and lose to the Titans, I think they'll be the number one team in power rankings, and I don't think it's crazy to think about. I mean, they think about the teams they've beaten. They've beaten quality teams, and yeah, look, the Chiefs. They've had some bumps in the road. I think they're 500 right now, and they look bad in the first half against the Washington football team, but in the second half they look like the Chiefs. I mean, they turned it up. They beat the hell out of the Washington football team in that second half, and who knows? They could start figuring things out. And now that Chiefs game looks like a hell of a win. So yeah, I think the Ravens will skyrocket up the power rankings, although they were already pretty high going into this game.
Yeah, absolutely. And then Billy Seal says, was the run production a result of the running backs figuring it out a little more, or did they just take advantage of a porous defense? I think this has to do with the strength and the variety of our offense, right? So the Ravens saw a weakness, exploited it. I don't know. I think so. It's a little bit of both, but I think it was more the fact that we saw the second portion. But I do think because our running back room is new and kind of like a piecemeal unit,
Yeah.
there it will be a progression every week. But I want to, if you want to answer this question, that's fine, Glenn. But I want to speak to our sponsor really quickly of the show. We're talking about stocks right now. The Ravens are up $1 in symbol. The Chargers are down $1. As you guys know, we partner up with Symbol, and they are the stock market for sports. DK, if you don't mind throwing the banner down at the bottom, it's awesome. Basically, just like the stock market, you buy low.
Foreshadowing on that banner.
That's right. You buy low, you sell high. You get payouts for every single time your team wins. You can get into the stock market for sports. Go check it out using the URL that DK is going to put down below here in a second. But really quickly, I just want to pull up the screen, Glenn, just really fast and just show you this.
Yeah,
right?
who I was expecting that might make a bounce back this week was the Lions. I thought maybe they could trap the Bengals. They've played so many teams close all year, but they get their doors blown off. So let me ask you, what's Cincinnati look like? Because I don't think anyone's taking them seriously still after they've had a fantastic season. They barely lose, And if their kicker could make any kicks, they would have beaten the Packers. And they'd only have one loss right now. I mean,
The
what are they?
Bengals, yeah, the Bengals are down, are up a dollar, excuse me, at 54.95. So they are more expensive right now than our Baltimore Ravens, in fact.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of crazy. If I was a team, I'll tell you what, if I was had stock in them right now, I'd probably sell them when they're high because I got to anticipate there being a collapse. Am I crazy to think that they are riding a little bit high right now? Or should we start buying into them as a true contender, at least in the AFC North?
Yeah, I'm not ready to. But I understand your point. But I want to ask you this, Glenn. We got, as you guys know, we got this money out there. We put $500 in the pot that we want to work on with you guys. We got to put some dollars on the line here and pick up some stocks here. Honestly,
I think we buy into the Ravens stock, Jimbo. We got to put some money on that. No, not all Ravens, but you put some money into the Ravens. I think you put half of it into the Ravens.
All right.
Let's ride with our squad, right?
All right, fair enough.
I think they're going to continue to do what they do and keep playing well. So yeah, let's give them at least 250. I think. What do you think?
I'm down with it, man. Let's do it. So we're gonna put 250 towards the Ravens, and then really quickly, and then we'll get right back to the game. What would be what? So we're gonna put 250 towards the Ravens. Any other picks here? I might be crazy, but I think the Raiders are gonna find a bounce back this year, and right now they're only $41 a pop. I still think they're very
Raiders.
The Raiders are a talented
They're
team.
a mess. I ain't touching them. They're in turmoil. I don't think
Right. But it's all about buying. We got to find distressed assets.
I mean, I see what you're saying. Maybe if we buy them this week, a lot of times when a team's in these situations, they have one really good week and then they just go down the tube. So maybe we buy them this week
as a short sale,
and then we get out from them really quickly. I think the other teams you look for, I think the Cowboys, while they're already a high value, they are in the worst division. I mean, their division stinks. It absolutely stinks. So why not buy a team who every game they play inside their division seems like a layup? I think we take them. I think we take the Colts. What are the Colts looking like? I think the Colts are on an ascension. They're playing in a shitty division.
Great point.
I think you look at the Colts, and I think you look at the Cowboys, because I'm looking for teams that play in shitty divisions because they stack those division games late in the season. And that's where we look to make our hay. So that's where I would put some money in.
So we're going half the Ravens. We're going one share of the Raiders as a short sale, and we're going Colts
and Cowboys.
All right, guys, let us know what you think. We'll also, of course, review that next week. But this is exciting. I think it's a lot of fun. Make sure you guys check out Symbol. You get $10 for free by doing so. Check it out, /410, if I can pick up my pen here.
I've dropped my pen twice too, Jimbo. Don't worry about it. And it's amazing how far it can bounce despite dropping straight down.
Jeez whiz. So I'm excited, but make sure you go check it out with Symbol. What other notes you got on this?
I got to talk about. Yeah, I got to talk about a huge note, a big one. We see the return of not just Bateman making his first catch of the year, but Miles Boykin gets in on the action with a 6-yard grab on his only target. It was nice seeing him out there. It was funny. There was a play early where he was in there on a goal line situation. I said, we're definitely running the ball on this play because Miles Boykin's out there in a goal line situation. So did you see anything from him, or at this point, is he just kind of a guy that's going to be out there when we need a body, but doesn't necessarily ever going to factor into the passing attack?
Yeah. I think we talked about the train scenario earlier. I think the train has left Boykins. I think it's gone, and he's now just a blocker. I mean, I don't know, because we're so deep. Unless there's, a slew of injuries, I don't know if I see much. But I could be totally wrong. The kid always has and will always have the physical gifts.
Yep.
Right, but it's just about putting it together. So, no, I mean, it didn't move the needle for me.
Okay. All right. Yeah, me neither. I just had to ask because he did get his catch. We had to talk about him.
Yeah.
But does it – look, I thought that Brown had an okay game. That was a tough catch. I would have liked to see him make it. But then he also has the fumble while he's trying to pick up a 3rd and 15. He's trying to get everything he can to get into field goal range. What'd you think about Hollywood's performance today?
Yeah, you know what? To me, he's still trending in the right direction. Obviously, the catch was man, he's got to stop with the drops. But
Yeah.
I love the aggressiveness and the way that they're using him. I love that he's putting a foot in the ground and turning upfield. And speaking of putting his foot down and turning upfield, we cannot bypass the play of Devin Duvernay.
Shout out.
I mean, is he not a Pro Bowl special teamer?
And he's a Pro Bowl Swiss Army knife, because I tell you what,
Yeah.
he could be our running back.
Yep.
If Freeman were to ever get hurt and we lose all our speed out of our backfield, put Devin Duvernay back in that backfield and let him be your speed back. That guy, he's a difference maker. He's physical. He's fearless with the ball. He's quick. He's explosive. To me, he might be, and I might get beat up for this, he might be an upgrade from Sammy Watkins. And if he just gets the opportunity, because I just feel like with the ball in his hands, he's so good. He's so much more versatile. He's so much more physical. I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm putting the cart before the horse there, but I like what I see from him, and he never seems to disappoint me. When I see him get an opportunity, he always takes advantage of it.
Yeah, I mean, I can't disregard what you're saying, but that would be tough. You might be putting the cart in front of the horse a little bit, but I still think that the arrow is trending up for him. So huge shout out to him. But you know what? Man, this is insane because I'm not even looking at the comments right now. I was literally just about to talk about Patrick Ricard.
Nice.
Cakes, shout out, man. You know, great minds think alike. So absolutely, the dude we touched on earlier, moving bodies, playing well, just another glue guy on the offense that makes it all work. So yeah, I mean, can't forego him either.
No,
but
he's phenomenal. The guy is phenomenal.
Yeah, absolutely. But Glenn,
I want to. He's so good.
I want to get to our competition at this point.
Yeah, let's get to it. I've been putting it off long enough.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's freaking hear about. Look, let me just say this. I did pick Deshaun Elliott to be my defensive breakout player. And at this point, I'm going to cling to anything I get right. And my defensive key, I think, was spot on. My offensive key was spot on. But yeah, let's get to this freaking over-under.
The actual competition where it counts?
Yeah, let's get to it. I mean, So the first over-under we said, if you guys are new to the show, we set an over-under and closest to the pin competition every week. And whoever wins out of our fans gets a free shirt in the mail. And so this week we also participate in the competition. Of course, if we win, it's just bragging rights amongst the three of us. But so the first competition we put out there, we put the over-under for 125.5 yards on the ground as the Ravens try and bounce back and get that run game going. And they do so in a big way. They go for 187 on the ground. So they blow that out of the
first
water.
Quarter, we had like 62 or something like that.
Yeah, and unfortunately for me, the other two guys agreed, and they all said over. So no separation there for myself. And then our second over/under, Bateman receptions. I set it at just 2.5 because I wasn't sure his involvement. We heard he was going to be slowly introduced. Some expected him to have more involvement than others, but he ultimately has 4 catches, goes over the 2.5. Jimbo was the only one to call it over correctly. Me and DK both go under. Jimbo is 2 for 2. Me and DK 1 for 2. Then defensively, Jimbo, Austin Eckler, we all three thought he would go over the 110.5 total yards. We were all way off. Just 7 yards on the ground and 48 on the through the air. So 55 total yards for him. Way under.
I think we should throw this one out because this was really just a motivational tactic for our defense. We know that they're big fans of the show. Calais and Justin Metabike and Chuck Clark, all these guys, we appreciate their support and watching the show. Yep. And so with that being said, this was just a motivational tactic.
Yeah, I mean, didn't we have Justin Tucker and Lamar Jackson in our chat?
Both in our comment section. I mean these guys stay sliding in our DMs. All right.
But yeah, I mean, he was well under that 110.5. So we were all three wrong on that one. And then I set Ravens sacks at 2.5. I thought it'd be a big game that we need to get to the quarterback. We got close. To throw to
Marlon Humphrey.
Yeah, they got close. They did get to him twice, but still under the 2.5 over under prediction there. And DK was the only one who got that one right. So with that being said, who won our over-under competition as a show?
Well, honestly, DK won this week because him and I were tied 2 out of 4 of the over-under.
Okay,
And
well then
then
let's get to the pin then. Let's get to
right.
closest to the pin because we also had total yards and we put it for total yards for the Chargers. Typically we do the Ravens. This week we did the Chargers. Boy, was I wrong about this one. I put it, I don't even want to say what I put it at because I'm so embarrassed at this point.
Mm.
But DK won, of course, which comes as no surprise if you've been a fan of
No.
this show for a while. They had just 208 yards. They only had 200 yards for the game, guys. That's how good this defense was.
Yep.
So DK was the closest, although he wasn't close at all. A little shot at DK. He was way off. He was way off. I mean, he wasn't even close, but he was the closest. And I noticed I buzzed past that last part there. But for the total score, we were all way off. I mean, we were all close for the Ravens score, but we couldn't have been worse for the Chargers score.
Yeah, absolutely. That was we were, I think I had 68 was my total.
Well, yeah, you had it at 68.
Yeah,
We
30,
were the
38.
highest.
Yeah.
But I'll say this. I picked the Ravens to score 35, and they scored 34, right? Is that nothing?
I mean, that's a moral victory, Glenn. That's a moral victory.
I pulled a Vic Fangio.
No, it wasn't that bad.
Okay. Because I think Vic Fangio was going for that moral victory. He couldn't even get that day.
He's a whiz. Yeah, you're not kidding. But, man.
But let's announce who our winner was.
I'm excited to announce our winner because, DK, you have a challenger.
Uh-oh.
Look, we recognize DK's prowess and knowledge of the game because he lapped the field last year in this competition. It wasn't close. We have a consecutive two-time and still over-under champion of the world. Jake Price wins again. So he will get a second shirt in the mail. That's right, Jake. That way you can have one in dirty clothes.
Yeah, if you want to, hey, send us a size if you want to get one for a family member. By all means.
That's right. So channel name, of course, is Channel Dirty.
Hey, Jimbo, can we get one with the other logo?
I think I can do that. If I can, I will send you the classic. That is the OG t-shirt.
The OG.
That's right. So that's only for two-time winners, though.
Yeah. Oh no. And by the way, hey, Keon, none of us picked the Chargers to win. Hell no. We picked it. We picked it to be a tough, a high-scoring game, but all three picked the Ravens to win.
Yeah. DK and Glenn don't want to make that mistake again because I was talking way too much trash.
Yeah, I did that. I did that in the Chiefs game, and I'm not going to make that mistake again.
That was great.
Oh, and by the way, I got to say one more thing, unless you have something more about the competition. Shout out to the Ravens cutting down them damn penalties, man. I think that went a big way in this game. They had just two penalties for 15 yards in the whole game. Every other game, it seemed like they had 6 or more. Some games as high as, I think, 10. So the fact that the Ravens only had 2 penalties today, I think is a big reason why the Ravens had so many long touchdown drives. They weren't forced to play third and long, even second and long. They were ahead of the chains all day. And then defensively, they didn't have those stupid penalties. Now, and also shout out to the NFL for penalizing Doyle for last week, pushing Tavon's head into the dirt. And while he wasn't caught in live game action, and Tavon was, and thankfully it didn't bite the Ravens, the referee, or at least the league office, recognized it and fined him, I think, $12,000 for those actions. And by the way, didn't fine Tavon a thing for pushing him back.
That's right. No, absolutely. Well, the only thing I want to say to wrap up the show is, of course, great team win. We appreciate you guys coming out. Our numbers are great after the show, after the games. We love that you guys are here with us and hope you're getting as much out of it as we are, because certainly we love doing this. But I want to say this, give you guys a little teasers. Tomorrow we will have a litany of shows coming out, a decent amount, and we have a few questions to ask about our quarterback in comparison to some other quarterbacks. We're also going to get, we're hoping to do it this week, if not this week, in the near future. We're going to get JT O'Sullivan on. Make sure you guys check out his channel if you haven't. He's a former quarterback in the NFL, and he does a lot of film breakdown to break down the difference between the Ravens passing scheme last year in comparison to the improvement of it this year with our new coaches on the staff. So much going on this week. Excited to get into it. So make sure you guys stick around, hit the subscribe button, turn on your notifications. So every time we drop a video, you guys are up to date. That way your toilet time can be with us watching the show, because I know how it goes. So make sure to check it out. Had a great afternoon.
Yeah, go Ravens.